What is good, Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thank you for joining. This video is a reply to the great comments I got on my video on non-compliance. And I'll give you an example. Sarah Taylor has amazing comments on the channel. I try to read every single comment on the channel. I for sure read every word that she provides. Thank you as usual. Sarah Taylor says this, I quote, "I'm surprised you would discount," she's talking about me, "I'm surprised you would discount noncompliance so easily. Civil disobedience and peaceful protest have always been powerful tools against oppression. Laws are not absolute. They are not always just. We should first consider the merit of the law. If it is right and just, it should be followed. If it is not, it should be opposed in an appropriate manner. Half these policies we're seeing around this time isn't even done by law. It's created by bureaucrats, city councils, and governors by mandates, recommendations, and executive orders. Do they have authority to do what they are doing? If I misunderstood what you meant, please tell me." No, you did not misunderstand. I appreciate you trying to give me the benefit of the doubt because she's so surprised. I'm surprised too of where I'm at with this, but I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Jake from State Farm brought up, so if this guy, talking about me, was Rosa Parks, then the civil rights movement would never happen. He helped me too because I went back to the civil rights movement to kind of talk about what really solidified the civil rights movement. What really did it in our country? We have the executive, legislative branches. It's time to get to the judicial branch. It's going to be up to the courts. So if your non-compliance does not involve getting a court case that looks good, that you can drive all the way up to the Supreme Court, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. This is happening, though, all over the country, different cases for different reasons. This recent one is on mask mandates in Pennsylvania. Starting Tuesday, masks will be required for everyone in Pennsylvania, including students, staff, and teachers. Masks will also be mandated in early learning centers and by child care providers. So that's what they're going to do in Pennsylvania. So their answer in Pennsylvania, so this video that came out in Manchester, Michigan, is them saying what Sarah is saying. These aren't real laws. Are you going to enforce them? Are you going to arrest us? No, so we're going to go into the school. We're going to be non-compliant. What they're doing in Philadelphia is they're saying, we're going to have people showing up to school. We're going to have them go in or try to go in with no mask. If they get stopped and turned away, that will be the school turning them away. And based on that, we're going to do a lawsuit. So they're complying. You don't need to be non-compliant to get what you have to have done. There can be a time for that. Please don't get me wrong. This is not the time. It's rare. It's very rare that, to me, non-compliance works. Rosa Parks, what worked about Rosa Parks was the court system. The NAACP had been planning on trying to get something through to the Supreme Court to test the constitutionality. This is back when the NAACP was actually a decent organization. Now I think it's trash, but that's irrelevant for this point. It was very smart strategically what they did. There was actually a case before Rosa Parks, and her name was Claudette Colvin.
Because there had been others before her that had refused to give up their seats, this was a process that the Montgomery, Alabama chapter, the NAACP, was trying to develop over time, and they were really just waiting for the right person at the right time to bring the case. Ms. Colvin, I think her last name is pronounced, 15-year-old teenager back in March. Ms. Parks did hers in December. Ms. Colvin did hers in March. But she didn't fit the bill that they were looking for. She was too young, too dark. Also, they found out, I believe, that she was pregnant at the time, and she had been charged, along with violating the seating policy on the bus. She had also been charged in that same incident with assault, and the NAACP did not want the issue of the segregation on buses to be overshadowed with the assault charge. So Mrs. Parks giving up her seat, she was for them at that time, she was the right person at the right time.
They chose Rosa Parks because Rosa Parks was older. There was no alleged disturbing the peace and assault. Her skin was lighter. We wish that didn't matter, but it all worked out where Rosa Parks was the right figurehead for this court case. The optics matter. And when you say they can't touch you, go on in, that allows people to frame you however they want. And that's what happened with Joy Reid on Twitter. Replied, said, imagine teaching your teenage children to flout public health rules. Imagine these parents doing the same with the measles, with your kids in that school. These families should be disenrolled. Those kids should have been sent home immediately or turned away. Then she went after the officer on duty, that I believe was a Washtenaw County officer. Why is he even there? He let one of those kids violate the dress code. They'd be out the door. If you're gonna have a policy, enforce it. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, and you can see the tone where she's going, is I'm not trying to argue with her in this one. The reason I'm bringing this up is they have control. They have control of the narrative. Joy Reid has 2 million followers. She's got a big platform. There's no one that's got your back that can do that. And she just represents one of them. They have way more than that. You can't fight that. You become non-compliant, and you just get in this algorithm where there's more and more people that say, look, they're non-compliant. In Pennsylvania, they're not going to do that, and you won't be able to get a video of them being non-compliant. Just like the NAACP said, all right, we need the right court case. This ain't the right one because you're non-compliant. In Pennsylvania, they could say, we were compliant. We're just suing because that's the wrong thing to do. That's a much better case, in my opinion, than this one. I did a video on compliance. It's the same as with the police. This was in regards to the Daunte Wright case. But imagine that you get hemmed up by the police, meaning they do a legal search and seizure on you or something like that, and they try to arrest you. Are you going to be non-compliant? No. Comply. I'm not saying anything to them. I'm going to talk to a lawyer. I'm going to say, honey, do we have any money? We're going to have to do this lawsuit. That's the way to handle this right now. And if the Supreme Court doesn't come with the right ruling, it's over. We're in a bad place. We have to be honest. I know people want to give good news, want to be optimistic about things. I will when there is time to be that. But when you look at this political, social war going on in our country, it is lost right now. It's time to regroup. It's not time to be non-compliant. Non-compliance is a source, even if you're peaceful, and that's the only way I would talk about it, is if you're peaceful, it's a show of somewhat of force. This ain't the way. Especially you're out there in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in Washtenaw County, you're outnumbered.
So take a moment. What are you grateful for today?
Let me show you what I'm grateful for. In Douglas County, Colorado, they are not outnumbered. And look what they can do. Jared Polis and Ron DeSantis, to me, are the two best governors out there right now. I mean, one's a Democrat, one's a Republican, but I like what both of them are doing. In Colorado, Jared Polis is saying, this state is kind of purplish. We've got very red districts and very blue districts. If I do a heavy-handed, non-liberty approach, Democrat talking point, I'm going to be ousted. I'm going to say my recommendation are the Democrat talking points, but I'm going to leave the decisions up to the county for how to handle these health situations. Douglas County, Arapahoe County, and Adams County in Colorado all formed this tri-health, I forgot what department. So the decision for all three counties comes from this group department that they all fund. Douglas County has a concentrated amount of people who believe in liberty. They want to be safe, and they also believe in liberty. And they said, we are taking Douglas County out of this tri-health system because the tri-health system said we agree with the Democratic non-liberty talking points, and Douglas County said we don't agree with that, so we're out. So now we're a separate county, not grouped up in the tri-county. Polis said the separate counties can make their decision. We're making our decision. That's how it's done. That's why I said save up money. Who knows? Maybe I'm blowing this way out of proportion. You won't need it. If you don't need it, go buy a Cybertruck. But if you do need it, you'll be able to move to wherever that location is with concentrated power, with people that don't agree on everything, but there's one main thing. For me, it's liberty. Whatever it is for you, you've got to prioritize that one or two top things. We believe in that. And this is where we're going to be concentrated. Just like in the Civil Rights era, Black Americans were concentrated in the South. So there was some power in having a lot of Black Americans grouped together to start a momentum. You can't be sprinkled all over the country in these rural areas and some suburban areas, and some in New York and some in Ohio, and then you're not going to have any power, not under our system. So if you want to change things through our system, you've got to get concentrated power in certain areas and then branch out from there. Let me know what you think. Does that answer the questions? Am I still crazy or insane? Thanks for listening. Take care.
The Douglas County School District will still require masks in schools for the time being, despite Douglas Republican County Commissioners voting today to leave the Tri-County Health Department, which instituted the mandate. The commissioners unanimously voted to start creating the Douglas County Health Department. They've been fighting their public health experts' guidance throughout the pandemic, and the mask order for schools was the last straw. 9 News reporter Luis De Leon joins us now to talk about this intersection between public health and politics. Luis?
Kyle, Douglas County commissioners say they've already allocated money to keep services provided by Tri-County Health until the end of the year. But Douglas County essentially wants governing control. The commissioners gave Tri-County notice of wanting to leave last July. They rescinded that, though, when they could opt out of public health orders made by Tri-County. But once that power was taken away, they decided to try and get out. That's what they voted on today. So now a few things are going to happen. Commissioner Laura Thomas says they'll be appointing a health board next week, which would include, among other people, 2 of the 3 commissioners.